Greetings, my friends, and welcome back to the Home Slice. Today we have our last semi-final round of the chop tournament. So far, the Survive Knives GSO10 in Peter's Heat Treat CPM 3V, look at that beauty, has beat by a narrow margin actually the K-Bar Becker BK9, as well as the Buck Hoodlum. Today it goes on to take on the formidable Husqvarna Carpenter's axe in a bit of an unbalanced but very fun chopping competition. The Husqvarna Carpenter's axe has beat out at this point the Condor Tactical Katana and the Cold Steel Trail Boss axe. So we're going to clean up these edges a little bit. They've seen about 3 hours of work already, and at the end of this test they will have been beaten into invasive plants of New Zealand for 4.5 hours each. So we're going to clean up those edges, make sure there's no gunk on them, give them 15 strokes on hanging denim strop, loaded with some mother's mag polish, and we're going to take a rating to see how sharp they're starting off. Let's get into it. I just did a little measurement for myself, for my own benefit, and I just wanted to say, these things, I mean, I know they're in the 200s, but just to sort of highlight the effectiveness of a denim strop, these things are actually still shaving fairly well. I don't know if you can see all of that hair just got removed. And that bare strip of arm there, I find it hard to show shaving, I'm sorry. Both of these blades actually are shaving. Husqvarna, not as smooth, but is removing hairs. Crazy. I mean, while we're exploring the how sharp with an occasional strop CPM 3V can stay, let's check and see how a paper cut test does. After 3 hours, it's push cutting. With just a strop, it is absolutely push cutting. Like, look at that. I'm just pulling the paper. That is wild. Oh my gosh. I wonder if the Husqvarna, we're pretty thick behind the edge here on the Husqvarna. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, that's almost as good. This is going to be an interesting test. Wow. The Husqvarna, are you kidding me? I can't quite manipulate it to do a paper curl because it's massive. But holy cow. Oh! Look at that! So cool. Let's get into this.
Wild was the winter, she had strength left within her. Ground grew colder and covered in white. The woods wept and shivered, they were raised for their timber. If they could, they would run To chase down my demons, whittling down to the wire. The only solution was your whispered revolution, sparking the forest on fire. And you were in the The world was being tamed.
Okay, I'll move it. Okay, we have the two contenders. We're gonna do our two aligning strokes on the unloaded kangaroo hanging strop. Clean off any gunk with some lemon essential oil so it doesn't mess up our best reading. And we'll average the readings between the best worst and the middle chopping point of the blade. I will say, I will be very, very impressed and surprised if the axe manages to pull it off. I mean, by sheer statistical likelihood, it just seems like having more edge is a big advantage. So not really a fair test, I realize, but lots of fun. And that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. If you're here and you're not here for fun, you might need to find another channel to watch, because I'm here for fun. If I'm not having fun with these blades while I'm getting some work done and figuring out things about sharpening, why in the world am I doing this? Okay. Cleanup done. Time to do some aligning strokes. I messed that one up because I pushed it into the line while the blade was still curved and then lined it up, and that has an effect of digging into the line and breaking it a little bit more easily. So I'm going to redo that measurement because I don't believe, I was trying to hit the worst spot where I see the most shininess, and I don't believe that spot is at 198 BESS presently. So just test the tension. Okay. Oh wow, 296, same. Well, that's going to be the Survive Knives GSO. No surprise to anyone because the velocity and leverage and edge length are against the axe, although the axe has a 19 degrees per side edge on it. It's with micro convex, and the knife has a 17 degrees per side edge, micro convexed. But let me run the calculations real quick and I'll tell you exactly what they come to. All right, the results are in. It's looking like the Husqvarna Carpenter's axe came to a total of 642 grams average between the best, worst, and middle best readings. And the Survive Knives GSO10 in Peter's Heat Treat CPM 3V came in at 311.7. Now that's after 4.5 hours of hard use chopping out in the field. So 300 BESS after 4 hours of heavy chopping, and you saw the size of some of those things that I was hitting with this, is quite good. I will mention I did have an accident with the axe. So I broke with my custom. The axe edge fell against something, and I could see on the edge that there was a chip that lined up with the rivet that's in the middle of this sheath. So I didn't test the absolute worst spot because I think I actually caused it by running the edge into that metal rivet. So rather than test the worst spot, I actually tested the second worst spot. I headed away from that. I could see another chip that clearly was in a different area, and that was our 803 number. Anyway, overall, I'm really pleased with the performance of this guy. I'm pleased with the performance of the axe as well. I think, as I've said in previous episodes, when we get out to longer distances and heavier weights, I think that this whole tournament has been very instructive to me that if I want to prioritize edge retention, I need to be doing a little bit of a wider final angle on that edge than 19 degrees per side. Now, next episode is the Chopper Bowl. It's going to be the GSO10 versus the K-Bar Becker BK7 of all things. Those are the two that outlasted all the others. I am flabbergasted that my little BK7, which is the only knife which I own in this tournament, has actually kept with it to the final round. I think it's going to be hard-pressed to compete with this guy, though. This is a beast of a knife. Thank you so much, Andrew Van, for loaning me this bad boy. While we're on the subject of observations that I have realized from the test, I'll give a brief update on what's next for the chop tournament for those of you who have followed along. I have had such a blast testing these chopping blades, and I still, every week have to get out and do a little bit of time clearing invasive species off the land at my workplace. And so I'm going to continue doing chop tournaments. I think that one thing that I realized from this tournament is that there was so much time in between some episodes. It sort of caused the whole series to lack a bit of continuity and interest. And that's just due to seasonal weather changes and workplace scheduling conflicts and things like that. So I haven't been able to film for the last month because of various reasons. So anyway, I think that what I'm going to try to do in the future is do smaller tournaments. I think I'll do probably like 4 blades to a tournament because I believe I could keep them fairly tight on the timeline so that people could follow along and build interest and enjoy it a little bit more rather than getting half the tournament done and then freezing for 4 months because I went to the US and then getting another third done and then freezing because the weather's bad. You get the idea. I think I'll also separate out axes from knives and sharpen them at different angles. I've received some more generous donations from the same guy who loaned me this. Thank you, Andrew. So I have enough blades to do a repeat tournament, but I think I'll break it into smaller tournaments. And if we add up to the point where we have 4 winners, then perhaps I'll take those ones head to head and do one additional tournament that's kind of the all-star league, but keep each one kind of a little bit tighter. If you've followed along with the progress, I'd be really keen to hear any feedback that you might have. I'd love to hear any blades that you would be interested in seeing tested. I'd love to hear whether you think that the stropping in between tests muddies up the data and it causes like lower carbon steels to shine better than they ought to if it's a strict edge retention test. I'd love any thoughts that you might have. I would love to hear them in the comments. Probably the final round I'll do with no stropping at all, and it will just be a no holds barred fight to the death for the BK7 and the GSO10. Anyway, I hope you've had a great time, as I have. The last episode where the K-Bar Becker BK7 actually bests the tops to home a field knife. I'll put a link to that on screen right now if you want to check that out. For the rest of you, I'll say peace out from the home slice. You guys take care.